Welcome to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC. It's your opportunity to learn more about your garden and your yard, about dealing with pests, and about taking care of the birds. You can be part of the show with your questions at 395-1450. That's 395-1450. And now, from De Bruyne Seeds on Washington Avenue in Zeeland, here's the Master Gardener, Jan Meeuwsen.
And good morning, everybody. What a wonderful day to have a parade this afternoon with no rain and not a lot of heat. Perfect. And it's also perfect for working in your garden or your lawn today, too. So let's get out there. If you're not going to the parade, let's do something in the garden today. Great day to plant some things not so great, but hey, we've got plenty of time this spring. Nothing but spring now, I'm hoping. No more winter. I thought you almost said snow there for a moment. I started to panic, but hey, I am fine now. You didn't mention that word, so we're all set to go. Tulip time. Can Tulip Dig be far behind? It cannot. It is next Saturday at 9 o'clock until 11 o'clock, and it is at Window on the Waterfront and at Centennial Park. It might also be open at Windmill Island, kind of depending on where their tulips are. If they're finished blooming, then they'll also open that up. You can dig a hole. You have to bring your own bucket, your own shovel or whatever, and you take out the stems and the green foliage, the whole bit, and put it in your bucket. So it's always best to kind of case the joint here. Maybe tomorrow, check out Window on the Waterfront in Centennial Park. Find the beds of tulips that you like best, and that's where you're going to stand on Saturday at 9 a.m., and you can start digging to your heart's content. And then you're like, well, I've got a bucket of tulips with a stem and a bulb. What do I do with them? You've got really two options. You can go home and you find where you want to plant them and dig a hole and put them in, and then wait for the green leaves to die back, and then just trim them off at the bottom and fertilize them in the fall, and you'll have them in the spring. Or you can store them in a cool, dry place once you let the energy go back down to the bulb. So once all the green leaves are brown, then you cut those off. Then you can store them cool, dry place, and cut off all the foliage once it's done. Don't wash them. You can brush off the dirt and then you can store them in a paper bag or a mesh bag, something that's going to keep the air moving around it, and then plant them in the fall in well-drained soil, and you should have some beautiful blooms next year. So fun thing to do if you haven't done it before. It's a great thing to do. Now the phone lines are open. Gary is at the ready. Number is 616-395-1450. 616-395-1450 is the number to call. We are just hopping here at De Bruyne's today. This has been a day everyone seems to be wanting to get plants. Hanging baskets are leaving, and I couldn't figure out why, but it's Mother's Day tomorrow. So get your hanging baskets. We still have some lovely ones left, but we also have broccoli and cabbage and cauliflower and Brussels sprouts and kale and herbs and tomatoes and peppers. We do not have cucumbers, squash, or pumpkin yet. The soil temperature this morning was 54 degrees, and that is way too cold to plant those. And you don't want to plant your pumpkins until June anyway, so you just wait on those. The soil temperature is too cold. It's marginal for beans too. I would hold off on planting your beans for another week or so. It's still plenty cold. If we get a lot of sunshine next week, that soil temperature might creep up. We've gone up 4 degrees this week. We might even go up more next week if it's warm, and warm at night. That's the big thing. If it goes back down to like 40 at night, then we lose that soil temperature. So it seems to lose it quicker than it gains it. So yeah, we'll just have to wait. We still have seed potatoes left, lots of reds, yellows, and white ones, and blue ones. We've got garlic, onion sets, shallots, all the fun stuff to put in your garden. And, of course, we've got lots and lots of seeds. Now, Memorial Day is coming up. Cemetery liners, the flowers that you put in the green pails, they will be here Monday morning, probably after 10:30. They don't always arrive at dawn, but we should be getting a lot of liners in on Monday. And then we also have a lot of cemetery pails. So don't call and get really worried. We do have a lot of the green cemetery pails to bring to the cemetery. So again, starting Monday, we will have those. And sweet potatoes, I'm thinking those will be available Friday, May 26th, and be available for the Memorial Day weekend. Remember, they're bare root plants, and they need to be planted. They've been pulled out of the ground from Tennessee in the nice warm clay soil there, and they need to be planted as soon as possible. They come in bundles of 25 plants. They're fun to do if you've never done sweet potatoes before. It's fun. You learn they grow differently than a potato does. A potato sends out roots and you get the tubers all along the root system. On a sweet potato, you get the bush coming up, and then the vines creep all over. But they, right below where the bush goes into the ground, there'll be like this cluster of sweet potatoes. So it's fun to do just to see how different it is from the other potatoes. But they do require warm soil. So that is a priority with them. They can't be put in our 40-degree soil. That is a absolute no-no. So we can, hopefully by next weekend, by Memorial Day weekend, it will be all set. We've got a couple of weekends here, so that will work. The phone lines are open. I know everyone's probably in the garden or at tulip time, but 616-395-1450 is the number to call. 616-395-1450 is the number to call. I don't have that written down in front of me. I don't know why I forget that, but okay, that's life. We're hearing a lot of the same questions here. Everyone's got all of those dandelions. We need warm weather at over 60 degrees, and it's got to be dry. Once you put it down, you want to put it down on a wet lawn, but then you want 24 hours of dry. That's if it's a granular or a liquid, it doesn't make any difference. You need dry weather afterwards. Dandelions are a pretty easy weed to kill. You can just use a plain weed and feed or just a plain lawn weed killer for those. There are some littler plants out there like chickweed. I had some guy come in. He had so much chickweed in his lawn, you could barely see the lawn anymore. That has such a small leaf to it. You really need to add something to your, it kills best with a liquid killer, but you really need to add the spreader sticker so the weed killer sticks to the leaves of those plants and gets enough on those little tiny, tiny leaves to kill it. So we can help you with that.
Can we get one screen for the lady with the...
We can help you with that. Pick out what weed killer you need to use. That's something that we do every day on a daily basis. Bring in one of your weeds, we'll identify it for you and pick out the right weed killer for your problem. And no, there is no weed killer that kills everything in your ground cover. There is a grass killer that you can kill the grass that comes up, but not a weed killer because it would kill your poor little plants. So you can get rid of the grass, but you're going to have to do some weeding. And then once you get it out, put some preen on so nothing else comes up. Moss loves damp, shaded areas, which are not conducive at all to maintain healthy turf. So consequently, your turf tends to thin and decline over time while moss greens and flourishes, and it looks wonderful. But lawns that stay wet after rainfall experience drainage problems or receive excessive irrigation, provide an ideal environment for moss to thrive. And also temporary or seasonal weather patterns may also contribute to moss growth. Factors such as low nitrogen availability, limited air circulation, and low mowing height further promote moss growth. So what do you do? Well, there's one thing is just adjust your expectations for the area and allow the moss to just grow. That is one option. When I say that, nobody ever wants to take me up on that, but it's always an option. Second option, plant something that loves shade, some sort of shady ground cover instead of grass. There's a lot of shady ground covers that you can do. I've got a brochure on it at the store. You can pick that up and pick up, some of the shady ground cover alternatives that you can plant in that area. The biggest one, we have a phone call. I'm sorry. Hello, you're on the Garden Hour.
Hey, good morning, Jan. I just heard you mention about something that would kill just grass, and that piqued my attention because I've got evergreen bushes. I don't remember exactly what kind they are, but then there's getting to be a lot of grass sprouting up through them, and all I was thinking is, well, I have to use Roundup, but I hated to use Roundup because I don't know what it'll do to those bushes. So is there a specific name or a type of product that is just the grass killer?
Okay, now get Grass Be Gone.
Grass Be Gone, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
That works wonderful on that sort of problem.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Jen. Have a great day.
Yep, you're welcome. Yep. Yeah, it will take care of all of your grass in most of your ground covers, and like in bushes and things like that. It works well. It does not harm your evergreens, your ground covers, or whatever else you have. Make sure it does get on the blades of the grass. So you got to kind of be, a little stealthy there. Maybe wear your glasses and watch where your spray is going. It's not going to hurt it if it gets on your evergreens or your ground cover, but you have to be pretty stealthy about it. So, I just take your time, do it on a cool, just no wind, and that should be fine. You should be fine. You should get your coverage that you need. So, and then once you get it out of there, put some preen around there. Maybe you can keep that from coming back again. All right. Phone lines are open. 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450 is the number to call. We were talking about moss in your lawn. You can, improve the where the moss is. The best thing to do is get rid of the shade. Get out there, trim the trees so at least it gets some dappled sunlight down there so you can keep some of the turf, or even remove trees if you really want grass there. Once you've done that, then you can apply something like Moss X or Moss Out, and kill the moss, rake it out. It's probably going to have to be done more than one time to get rid of it, and plant some good grass seed in there. So, just make it so the conditions are right. Okay, we've got a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. You're on the Garden Show.
Hey, Jan, just a follow-up question on that Grass Be Gone. Can that be used in a low raised bed with asparagus and rhubarb in it?
Yes.
Or would that affect the asparagus?
No, you can use it in your asparagus bed.
Okay. All right, that was all my
And
questions.
around
Thank
your
you.
strawberries, if you have strawberries.
You can use it with strawberries too.
Yep.
Okay. And actually, I did have one more question. You were talking about the ground cover in the high moisture areas in place of where the moss grows. Do you have anything, any suggestions that would attract pollinators as well in that kind of a situation?
Oh, there's lots of ground covers, or not necessarily ground covers, but plants that you can put in there, make it a little landscape bed, that have some flowers on them. I don't have my brochure right with me, so my brain is gone. But yeah, there are a lot of them that you can put in that sort of situation.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking for kind of the flowering ground cover for that area. So,
Oh, well,
thank you
myrtle
much. I
is a
appreciate it.
flowering ground cover. There's a bunch of that will do well in those areas.
All right. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. And all right, we'll just keep talking about moss here. Once you get the moss out of there, you improve the conditions. It shouldn't come back again. So the whole thing behind moss is you have to change the conditions and make it right for grass to grow and not right for moss to grow, unless you want to plant a moss garden, which can be beautiful. People laugh at me, but I've seen them before, and they are lovely. So, yeah, it's something to think about. You might have to look up a few things in some books, but you can make a little moss garden. Good morning, caller. You're on the Garden Hour.
Good morning, Jan. I am calling about, I have a tree that the bark is black on it.
Oh, that's interesting. What kind of tree is it? Do you know?
I think it's a maple tree.
Okay, so it's, probably. And is it all around or just on one certain side?
It's more on the south and west side. And it's only up to where the first branches
Yeah.
start.
Yeah. And is it sticky or is it just black?
It's just black. I didn't notice that it was sticky.
Okay. I was wondering if maybe, some sap was coming out and rolling down there. But, okay, and it's on the south and the west side?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I would worry too much about that. I think that's just kind of an environmental type thing on that poor little guy.
Okay.
I would keep it fertilized and keep it healthy, and I don't think that's really going to.
What fertilizer do you have to give the tree?
Pardon?
What kind of fertilizer do you have to give the tree?
Well, actually, I like tree tone. It's a granular thing that you just put around the base of the tree, or you can do the tree spikes. That works also. And, it might be that the sun is giving it a little bit of a sunburn there.
Oh,
and if
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what was the first thing you said? The tree granules?
Yeah, tree tone comes in a granular type form. It looks like fertilizer. It looks like fertilizer because that's what it is. And I just sprinkle that around the base of the tree, and it works well for me, for my trees. But you might be experiencing a little bit of sunburn on the south and west side. You can put a tree wrap around that so it doesn't get burnt. And it depends. I guess if we get some really hot, sunny days in a row, this summer you might want to put some. We have this looks tan little tree wrap that you can just wrap around it. Looks like an ace bandage around your tree, and that will help with the sunburn area.
Huh. Well, the tree is just about 50 years old.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't think it's really going to hurt the tree too badly. So unless you really see it cracking and looking horrible, you're probably okay.
Okay, and does DeBrine carry that tree?
Tree wrap, you bet.
Yeah.
And tree tone,
no,
bet.
The fertilizer.
Yep, yes we do.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Jan.
Yep, you're welcome.
Let me step in for a second, Jan, and sort of bring a related topic. When you have a black bark on a maple tree, you mentioned might be sunburn. That's not a symptom of, say, a spotted lanternfly that could possibly be affecting it, is it?
No, I'm hoping not. Now that you say that, there might be, but I think south and west side, I think it's more sunburn than anything else.
But
that poor thing can't get up and move out of the sun.
Yeah, but that spotted lanternfly certainly is a scourge, and it's on the other side of the state right now, as you've mentioned before, and hopefully it won't come to this side.
Hopefully we won't get it on this side, but yeah, you might want to go out there and look to see if there's any little holes going in the bark of the tree there, and you'll see the like sawdust on the ground right below the holes. It won't be big holes, just maybe 1/4 inch holes, maybe like the size of your pinky, in the bark. And yes, every day there's yet another thing that comes across my desk about invasive species in Michigan. And it's, the spotted lanternfly is, and they do love maple trees. They're found on the east side of the state last summer. So they're going to come this way. They absolutely adore grape plants. So vineyards are on high alert right now looking for them. They also like maple trees, as I said. Tree of heaven they love, which is kind of a junk tree. We don't have a lot of those around. They also like black walnut, birch, willow, just about any tree. And they also like fruit trees. So they're not fussy eaters at all. And it's so sad because it's the absolute most beautiful little insect you've ever seen, with the red and yellow and black and stripes and polka dots. And I love the looks of this thing, and it is bad news. So yes, keep a lookout for them. They're beautiful. The tiny ones just look like a little nymph of some sort with white background with black polka dots on it. So keep your eye out for that sort of thing. But there are other things that have come here, and it's a lot of it's our own doing. We take things and bring them other places. So, don't landscape with invasive plants. I know some look really cute and pretty, but don't do it. Stick with things that are native to the Midwest rather than try to get something from elsewhere, because it usually doesn't work well. Japanese knotweed is an example of that one. Someone thought it was a good idea, but it's not. And garlic mustard, another one that they thought it was a good idea. It was not. So stick with what's from around here. It works just better in the long run. When you're out hiking or fishing, make sure, we don't want you to accidentally take some hitchhiking species home with you. So wiping down your gear when you get back to the car will work. Most state parks have a boot wash now. So use that for those who fish. Trade in the felt-soled waders for the rubber ones. You can clean them easier. Let's bring home clean equipment. Do not pack a pest with you when you're going camping or whatever. Don't take firewood with you. Firewood is like the number one reason the emerald ash borer traveled around the state in lightning speed. I think it traveled around in less than a year. They thought they could prevent it from going to the Upper Peninsula, but no. People wanted their own firewood, did not declare. I mean, I know they even stopped people at the bridge looking for firewood. Those pests live inside the bark of that firewood, and they get to another place, and, well, you don't all burn it all. I'll leave it for the next person. And, well, now we've just invited all those pests to go elsewhere. So buy firewood where you're going to use it. Don't be taking it along with you, and never, ever, ever dump an aquarium plant or animal or fish in a stream or a lake or anything. Yes, I know koi can probably live in a stream or a fish or a pond here, but our koi carry a disease that our native fish do not have, and it will carry that to our native fish, and it can kill a bunch of them. So don't be dumping your animals and your fish in the water. I know 2 years ago by Detroit, someone had a water hyacinth in their backyard pond. It got too invasive, as it does, and so they threw it in a lake around Detroit. It took, I think, what they said, 700 man hours to get rid of all of the water hyacinths that were there. Absolutely clogged the lake and the river that it was. It was bad. So, it was all of our tax dollars that were cleaning up somebody else's mistake. So don't do it. Don't do it. Trade your stuff with somebody else, or bring it back to a retail store where you got it and say, hey, I got too much. And clean and drain and dry your boat after leaving the lakes. Before you go into another lake, make sure that boat has been cleaned. You don't want to take something from one lake and bring it to another. And these are all just common sense things, but you have no idea how many invasive species are in Michigan as we speak that they're trying to work on. It is just ridiculous. It's invasive species, plants, animals, fish, even little crayfish, those little red crayfish south of Detroit, just overran everything else in the natural ponds. So let's be careful out there, folks. Don't be the cause of these problems, and keep your eyes out for the invasive species. It's one of my big things here. I don't want you to be a part of that. And there are no murder hornets in Michigan. We're probably never going to get them, so don't worry about them. I know if you get some bulbs in your garden or your yard, if they're blooming wonderful, take a picture of where they are. Because I can guarantee you by next fall, you're not going to remember where the white tulips were and those yellow and white daffodils were, or whatever. So take a picture of where they are. If you're going to think, oh, I wanted to add a bright red, group over here. I don't remember that by fall. So I take a picture, I write it down what I want to do right now at this point in time when they're blooming. I keep forgetting what color my rhododendron bushes are. They bloom at different times of the year. So I finally took a picture of them. So I now know where the purple ones are and where the pink ones are. So I've got that down. Buying spring bulbs, this is done in the fall of the year. We get them right after Labor, and we have them in September and October. That is the time to get them. But now is the time to take a stroll down Tulip Lane, or go to Windmill Island and check out the tulips, see what colors you like, take a picture of them again and see if you can find something like it in the fall. That always helps. And once the flowers are done blooming, you cut off the flower stalk, but leave those leaves to go back down to die, to shrivel, turn brown, yellow, whatever. Once they're done like that, then you can cut off all the top, leave the tulip bulb in the ground. If you don't want to leave it in the ground, you can pull it up at that point in time and store it over the summer and put it in wherever you want it next fall. Remember to label the bulb as to what color it was, and that's always a good thing. Labeling is always a good thing. Let them they don't want to get them so dry that they shrivel up, but we want to keep them in a mesh bag so we get some air circulation around them if you're going to keep them until fall. Usually we fertilize once they're done blooming, and then again in the fall we fertilize the tulips. We have something called bulb tone or Dutch bulb fertilizer. Works wonderful on your tulips, daffodils, crocus, whatever you've got. that little bit of fertilizer does help for next year. I know you let the greens die back, but sometimes, especially with daffodils, which seem to last forever. I mean, 4th of July, you're still looking at the leaves of your daffodils, and I am guilty of cutting them down and too early. So, that giving them a little shot of fertilizer will not hurt them at all. Again, phone lines are open. 616-395-1450. 616-395-1450 is the number to call. Hemlock woolly adelgid, which is another one of those invasive species that we thought we could contain to the one little part of Ottawa County. It's now basically all the way up the coastline here in the west side of the state. But take a look up in your hemlock trees. Hemlock trees are the ones with the flat needles, and where the needle meets the branch, that's where the little white fuzzy thing is. Actually, the little adelgid is living underneath that little coating. It's like cotton candy or something. And spraying that doesn't work. You need to use the BioAdvanced tree and shrub, and you pour that around the base of the tree, and it gets up in the tree, and it will kill them. One will work for 3 years, but hey, just be careful. Keep looking up. I've got a couple people that have been looking up, and they've seen them in their hemlock trees. We don't want to lose them. It costs too much to have the tree taken out. So, and this is so easy to do. Once every 3 years is really all I'm going to ask you to do it. These are easy to kill when you use the right product. So, and use it correctly, you should be able to kill all those little woolly adelgids that are up there. And keep your eye on those trees. Birds can spread them from tree to tree. So, one guy I talked to this morning, his neighbor, the guy had looked up and he saw them in his neighbor's tree. So he told his neighbor. Now his neighbor came back and said, "Hey, you got them too this year." So they've been helping each other out, which was very nice, I thought. And the one big thing that this week, the buzz is all about Orioles. They have landed in Michigan, and not the Baltimore Orioles, the northern Orioles that come through here every year. You hear them talking in the trees. They live up in the upper stories of the trees, but they'll come down to your deck or your backyard if you've got an orange feeder or a grape jelly feeder or anything that's orange. They'll come down to investigate. They're very, very social birds. They're usually in groups of 6 or 7. They're constantly talking to each other. You usually hear them before you see them. And I sold, I think, 3 orange feeders this morning and a grape jelly feeder. So yes, everybody's got them. They're fun to have around. They only have one set of young, and then they start heading back south already in July. They're the first ones to leave. I'm like one of the last ones to come and the first ones to leave. But they love your oranges. They love your grape jelly. They love nectar, just like the hummingbird nectar, but put it in a little bigger feeder because they don't fit on a hummingbird feeder. So bigger feeder meant for Orioles. It's orange. They are fun to watch because they will be all over your backyard and your deck if you invite them down there. And even if you don't, you'll hear them up there. I had one guy talk to you about the Merlin Bird app that identifies birds. You can take a picture of it and identify a bird. But you can also, he was telling me he wanted to know if he had Baltimore Orioles. And I keep telling him, you'll hear them before you see them. So he went online and found out what he listened to their bird call. And when he thought he heard it, he recorded it on his Merlin Bird app. And yes, it was Baltimore Orioles. And so he got his binoculars out and he's looking. He goes, "Yeah, I saw him up in the tree." So I got my orange stuff out. So it was fun. That is fun. fun to watch the birds, but it's especially fun when you get a fun, I mean, just bright orange and black bird in your backyard. There's nothing more fun than that. Okay, the hummingbirds are fun, but the Orioles are special. They aren't here for a long time, so that makes them even more special when they do come. And they come like a bunch of rowdy schoolboys when they come. They're loud. But it's just fun to listen to them. But yes, the hummingbirds are also here. Don't forget them. Get your Oriole and your hummingbird feeders out, filled. Get them ready to go. Once you put them, hummingbirds and Orioles come back to the same place year after year after year. The hummingbirds still come to my backyard because my neighbor used to bring oranges back from Florida every year and feed them. They remember that. They come through by my area. And you got to get that feeder out, so you get them out there. I've got mine out. They are in my backyard. My grape jelly has been eaten by some Orioles, but I'll tell you, my cedar waxwings are fighting over it right now. But it's fun. It's fun to watch the spring and summer birds. They're just more colorful. They're just more fun. So get your feeders ready. Get your feeders cleaned out and ready. Even the just little robins and blue jays and cardinals and chickadees, they're still fun to feed. But it's just more special when you get an Oriole. That's all I'm going to say. Rose-breasted grosbeaks. That's another one that people are saying that they see around here. Very, very stunning bird, kind of a stocky bird, cardinal-type build, but it's got the most incredible rose-colored breast on it. It is stunning. They've got a great big bill like a cardinal, so they like to actually crack open sunflower seed, safflower seed, and that sort of stuff. So if just a regular bird seed with a lot of black oil sunflower will be fine for them. They will love it. They are fun to watch. The females of that are they look like a large finch. Nothing really exciting about them, but that male with the black back and the white and then that rose breast is something to behold. They are a gorgeous bird. There's also evening grosbeaks. We used to get those a lot. You're really going to have to search for those shy birds. I don't really know what they come to. So I have to quit talking here. I will be back Tuesday morning with Dan at 8:35, around there, with the garden party. I'll be back with Gary on Tuesday from 10 until 11 on the Talk of the Town. But I'll be back here next Saturday at 11:05 with the Garden Hour, ready to answer your questions. It is gardening season. We have to get out there and garden. So until next week, all I can say is go green.
You've been listening to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com. If you wish to hear this or other programs hosted by the Master Gardener from De Bruyn Seeds in Zeeland, check out the podcast section of our website, WHTC.com, and listen or download for free. The Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show is a presentation of 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.